Hello, and welcome back to the Coach to Confidence podcast. We have the lovely Taylor again, and this time she's actually going to be interviewing me, which is exciting.
I am. I'm nervous. I'm like, I have so many questions, but I don't know what the best ones to ask are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm also a bit nervous because I don't know what you're asking. And you know me, I can't really hide my facial expression. So I feel like if I don't know the answer, I'm gonna make that very obvious. But I guess ask whichever one feels natural first.
Okay, we'll keep it fun.
Okay,
What's
cool.
one random fact that people might not know about you already?
Random fact. I have a quite like genuine phobia of tractors. I actually do. I genuinely am terrified of tractors. So when I was younger, I had like a genuine near-death experience on a tractor as a kid. Like it's not funny, but it's funny to look at now. And now I'm actually terrified. And I moved to Devon for university, which obviously is like tractor land. And the first few times I drove tractors, like when I was learning to drive, I used to like stop and not be able to move. And my driving instructor would be like, Liv, like you need to keep going. And I'd be like, I can't. It's better now. Like I'm definitely not like as scared, but my heart still starts. If I see a big tractor, my heart generally starts going. And at university, all my housemates put like pictures of tractors everywhere just to
Oh no.
honestly, and it is like I mean, again, it's not that bad a phobia now, but I would still argue I am genuinely scared of tractors.
I mean, as random facts go, I love that. That's so random.
It's really random, and I feel like people think I'm lying, but genuinely, like it's something about the wheels. They're just so big, like they're just too big, and I flash back to like the near death experience on the tractor, and I hate tractors. So
Uh, Fair. I mean, I feel indifferent. I grew up in Devon, so
I mean, yeah, I'm from Reading. Like, there's not tractors in Reading, so you know.
what inspired you to become a PT?
That's a really good question. I think I was really bored doing my geography degree and I'd fallen in love with exercise and the gym. And I think it made such a big impact in my life. Like it really had pulled me out of like a really bad depression and kind of my last sort of relapse of anorexia. And I think finding the gym in that way like made me realize how much of a positive impact it can have on your mental health. So it really was the mental health element that I wanted to share with others because I really felt like it basically has saved my life. So I did my PT qualification. I am quite a YOLO person. So it was a very impulsive decision, like many decisions in my life. So it was very much one day I was like, I should do a PT course. And then I just started doing my PT course. I did it alongside my degree, started like coaching classes and stuff at the uni, and then actually decided that's actually what I wanted to do because I really enjoyed teaching the classes, did some one-to-one clients. So yeah, by the time I left uni, I was qualified and joined a gym and never looked back. So yeah, in fact, it was like weirdly just kind of a natural thing to do at that point, I guess.
Yeah. So if you weren't a PT or a coach, what would you do?
So before, when I was younger, I really wanted to be an accountant. I think because I had this idea, which is so random, which just because I had this like, I think I'd watched too many programs where people wore like nice pretty dresses and heels, and I wanted to be that kind of girl. I wanted to be like a dress, heels, makeup kind of girl. But as you will tell, I'm not that kind of girl. So to be fair, that was never going to work. I also did 12 weeks in an accountancy firm and absolutely hated my life and was so bored. And then I did 12 weeks on a holiday at uni because I then wanted to do like humanitarian aid and helping people. Um, and I did 12 weeks at like an NGO helping like food poverty and stuff, which was really interesting. But again, I got very frustrated that you don't really notice the help you're doing. Like you can't, it's same with bureaucracy. You don't really make the difference you feel like you're making, and you don't really feel like you are making a difference. So I
Yeah.
got frustrated. So I think probably something along like charity work or NGO work, but I do just feel like I'm really glad I didn't go down that avenue because it is a 9 to 5 desk job and you're not really having the impact in a lot of cases that you want to. Whereas with our job, like we do see the impact we have every single day. So yeah, probably something along that line, I think.
Yeah. Nice. Again, not what I was expecting.
You're like,
It's a geography degree, Liv. I thought it was going to be something like that.
yeah, no, it really wasn't. My geography degree was like, I think I was one of those kids where like I'd done well at A level, not to toot my own horn. It was kind of all I did was study, but I did well at A level, so I had like I could have done any of the A levels, and I just sort of did the one that I just found the best. It wasn't like a love of geography, so I think not that it was necessarily a bad thing because I'm glad for everything I've done in my life, but like I do feel like kids are very pushed into university, and like I don't think looking back I necessarily did need to go to university, but I felt like I did. From obviously like not so much parents, but family and everyone, all my friends were going to university, so it just felt like the thing to do. So I just kind of, it really wasn't ever like I really want to study geography. It was very much just like this is the next progression, which looking back, I obviously don't need a geography degree. So
But I guess if you didn't go, you might not have become a
yeah,
PT. So
yeah, 100%, and that's what I look at 100%. Like, and I had a great time. Like, I just partied and spent three years in the gym, so it was a good time. So, and you know, life is a lot less stressful at uni. So yeah, I can't complain. I had a great time, made some great friends, and did a lot of cool stuff. So yeah, but I mean, I don't really enjoy paying it back each month. That's the less fun part.
okay, so speaking of uni or people who we have a few new clients who've joined that I've noticed that are like uni students and coming to the end of their like uni life and things like that. So when it comes to juggling busy life, like we all do, like we literally were just talking about it, but like if what's your biggest piece of advice for people who are super, super busy?
I think a lot of the times we set ourselves up to fail, and I think even like sometimes we probably even do it with clients, like we can definitely read it wrong in terms of what's realistic at times. I think like you really need to pick your battles, and I would say much rather if someone was really busy, they just committed on one thing, whether that was food or whether that was steps or whether that was workouts. Like just implement one thing, get good at that, and then try and add the other habits. I think a lot of the time we try and change food habits, workouts, stretching. We start trying to do all these different things and adding supplements and all these things, and it can just be so overwhelming, and that's when you're going to fail. So particularly as a busy uni student, like looking back, like my training was always pretty consistent, but like food wasn't. So that was kind of the first thing when I left uni I started focusing on, and then I started building the other habits. Like I do think when you're busy, like trying to set yourself up to fail and try all these different things is like just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Obviously, that was a really serious conversation, so I'm going to throw a fun one in.
Cool.
What Swifty era are you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I'm gonna stick to, there was one that immediately came to my head because I feel like it is also what I'm gonna dress as for the Eras tour. I am definitely in my fearless era. I think that's where my heart is. That's where I sound Swift, I think. I am also quite a red girl. I do quite like red, and I kind of vibe with that as well. I think that's when I really got into her. But yeah, I think fearless. I'm definitely gonna dress as fearless for the Eras tour.
Yeah, I think that's you. I feel like that's you. If I was to pick any era anyway, I'd pick Fearless for you, 100%. So something that other people might not know about you is that you coach coaches into
Yeah.
helping basically be their best selves and coach and things like that. So if there are any coaches listening, what's the biggest piece of advice you'd give them in terms of being a coach?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I've actually been doing that like a little bit of time now. So I've been doing, I've kind of changed roles slightly in what I do with that, but I have been coaching coaches, like you said, to either like be better coaches or build their own businesses or whatever it is for maybe like 2 or 3 years now. So a little bit of time. And I think in that time, the thing that strikes me the most is the amount of pretty much no coach I've worked with in that time has not suffered with imposter syndrome. And it's something that you and I have suffered with. It's something that every coach kind of suffers with. Sorry, was your question like what advice would you give to coaches?
Yeah, or just
Okay.
anyone starting in the industry. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think imposter syndrome is the biggest barrier you will face. Like learning how to market, learning how to sell, learning how to get results, learning how to, all those things are really great, but the mindset, a bit like with our own clients, like that's the thing that will hold people back. You've got to just kind of put yourself out there and be okay with rejection and be okay with things not working and be okay with people thinking things or having comments. Like, I know when I started this job, like I definitely had a lot of friends and family that had a lot of comments, but now obviously that you're successful, they cheer you on. Like, you've got to just really learn to build quite a thick skin, I think. Because coaching, you do have to put yourself out there, and you do have to kind of like literally put yourself and your brand out there. But yeah, imposter syndrome definitely holds people back, which I guess is very similar to what holds people back in the fat loss journey, is their own self belief and their own kind of um,
Yeah.
self sabotaging thoughts and behaviors, really.
I think it's definitely one of those things, isn't it? That if you don't have the resilience when you start, you definitely get it. You have to have it, and you learn a lot of resilience through it because there are so many ups and downs. And I guess that you can relate that to kind of any journey that you ever go on, whether it be starting a business or changing career or even just a fat loss journey, is the resilience that you learn from anything like that is really high and really important.
Yeah, I think I'm like from when I started, and obviously it's maybe in 6 years or so. So like obviously I'm a different person with different elements, and there's obviously different factors in my life that have changed me. But yeah, I would say like I'm a completely different person, and I think a lot of that has been because I took everything on very personally. I was like too empathetic, didn't have any boundaries, like all these things that now actually I'm a lot more resilient in all areas, particularly business. But yeah, you're so right. You do just learn from the highs and the lows. So every time you get knocked down, a bit like with your fat loss journey as well, like you just got to pick yourself back up and learn from it, and then it's all kind of worth it in the end.
Yeah. And I really wanted to end like my interview with you on something that some people probably know, but maybe not so much about you, is your journey to the stage
Oh yeah,
and how, like, I think I joined you at the tail end of your own journey on the stage. I think the sort of first few months you were in your prep.
yes. I was trying to think, 'cause you were in November, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I must have been starting. Yeah, I think I started prep a bit earlier. Yeah, I think it was. I'm so bad with times. I'm like, when was that in my life? Yes, prep. Do you have like a particular question about it, or
I
just?
do. What led you to firstly want to do it? Because I feel like it's one of those things that everyone's like, oh, I'd love to do it, but I can't X, Y, Z. So what kind of led you to go, I'm actually going to go for it?
Do you know what? I've got so many mixed feelings and thoughts around the prep and shows, because part of me would actually love to do another one, because I love the process. I love learning about my body. I actually really enjoyed being on stage so much more than I thought I was going to. Because for anyone that doesn't know me, I'm like an absolute introverted hermit. But then I actually loved prancing around on stage in my bikini, which is so random. It was great. So part of me loved it. The reason I did it, I think for me, I wanted to test myself. And again, this is probably not advice I would give to people because it's not necessarily that sensible. But I think I wanted to test myself because of my past with anorexia, I've always been very hesitant to diet since, for good reason, which is 100% how you should be, particularly when you've obviously suffered for, almost a decade with your own food relationship. And I kind of wanted to test how strong my food relationship was and prove to myself that I could do this in a really as safe as and healthy a manner as a prep can be, and do this very extreme thing. I kind of wish I'd done something less extreme, like a photo shoot first, because I think actually I probably would have got the reward and the built discipline and the dedication from that alone. I don't regret it because like I said earlier, like everything leads to where you are and who you are as a person. So I don't regret doing it. I do think like it's weird because I've had so many friends do shows, and I think that's probably part of it as well. Like I have so many friends in the fitness industry, like most have done a show at some point. So I felt like I always felt a bit of pressure, like I should, I guess, as well. And also my ex at the time, my boyfriend at the time was like, "Oh, you'll never do that." So as part of that was also like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna do that." So
Yeah.
partly bitterness probably as well. But I think looking back, I was so, even though I think I knew in my head, I was so underprepared for the impact after. Like I really enjoyed the prep, I enjoyed the show, I enjoyed the structure. I was at a point in my life where I could be very selfish. So it was almost not easy because it was still difficult, but I was single, alone, living by myself. I could very much just put my head down and do it. And I didn't really have an impact on anyone else. So it kind of was the right time in my life, because it wouldn't be now really. But I think I was just so underprepared for the like aftermath. And looking back, like it's been 2 years, and I still struggle with my body image significantly more since doing that show than I did before. And I'm quite lucky that I've got a lot of tools in my toolbox to cope with it. But the first year after was rough. Like I definitely did not feel good in my skin for at least a good year afterwards. And I think it still had a bit of a knock on impact. Like my recent cut for my photo shoot, like objectively, I know I was lean, and yet I just did not feel lean because of the show, because I've been so much leaner 2 years beforehand. And that's that really hard thing of like being in a bikini in Dubai on a beach, being lean, but honestly, like feeling quite big still. And I think that's something that they really don't tell you is actually going to like probably mess with you for a long time afterwards. And I was one of the lucky ones where my food relationship wasn't really affected, whereas most people, most women, particularly, I think guys as well, but most women, because we have to diet more extreme for them, can really mess up their food relationship like long term from doing them. So I have such mixed feelings. Like I loved it, but I also, yeah, as you can tell, mixed feelings.
I think it is hard. Like everyone thinks like the prep bit is the hardest bit, isn't it? And that you then, I mean, ultimately that's probably what you thought, and that's why you
Yeah.
afterwards you felt the struggle because you went on holiday and you got ill whilst you were on holiday like the week after as well. So you like,
Yeah, so I rebounded really badly, and it wasn't my food. Again, my food relationship was pretty good. I didn't reverse properly because I'd gone on holiday, and then yeah, I got COVID for the first time, and I had some digestive issues and all these things. Just like because you do gain the weight so quickly because your body's just like so malnourished from where it's been. So obviously the weight increases so quickly. So it's this huge change from going from having abs one day to like no longer having abs, and it's a really hard, like it almost ruined that holiday with my family. Like I remember we were in the Blue Lagoon in Iceland, like once in a lifetime kind of holiday. Like I'm with my family, like I love my family so much, and I feel so bad looking back because I was so miserable because I felt so fat in this bikini. And looking back, like I did still have abs and I was still very lean. And yes, my fake tan was a bit patchy from the show, but I still looked amazing, and I am so much bigger than that now. But like I think at the time I just remember feeling so fat and disgusting because the week beforehand was like my prime, my absolute peak. Like everyone was telling me how good I looked, like strangers coming up to me in the gym telling me how good I looked, which has obviously never happened. And like that's a really hard change. Like that, yeah, post show, post prep, and kind of the like aftermath. Even though I did know it was going to be hard because I have been around people struggling before, I think when it's yourself, it's just so much harder than you actually do realize.
yeah. And I think like the fact that you went away, you didn't share much on social media, so that was like a massive indicator that you probably weren't
Just
engaged.
hit
You
from the
were
world.
living your mood, like living your best life, but you
Yeah,
fundamentally weren't, and you didn't like. I just remember thinking, oh, Liv's not shared much photos, obviously because you were struggling, and I think people forget about that. And
and a
people,
long time, like it was a long time. So I went to Bali that October as well. And again, I didn't feel comfortable in Bali, and that also had a knock-on impact. And I was alone there, so it was again less of an impact. But
and it's
yeah,
so funny because like for people like me who's still very early on in my coaching journey and things like that, like I look at those photos that you shared and I was like, Liv looks fucking phenomenal, and like, and it just goes to show that you can be at your leanest, you can body image and body dysmorphia and those things don't discriminate.
yeah, oh yeah, massively, yeah, massively. And yeah, you saw it on set, like shows. The girls were backstage pinching their fat when there's no fat there. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it is. You do see it with everyone. And we've had it at photo shoots. Like some of the girls that come and they think they're going to be the most body conscious, but sometimes it's the leanest one there that's the most body conscious, and sometimes it's yeah, absolutely, you cannot tell what's going on in someone's world or someone's head. And I think sometimes as a coach, it is hard to show the low moments. Like I think I'm quite good at being honest, like on reflection, but yeah, during it, I wasn't sharing the fact that I was really struggling because there is a bit of pressure as a coach to not be struggling, and I think that's one thing that I think the fitness industry is getting better for. But I did feel that pressure. I felt like I couldn't be like, guys, I'm really struggling at the minute, like my body image and how I feel about myself.
Mm,
Whereas now I'm okay to sort of share it, but I think it is hard as a coach, definitely.
yeah. So end it on a high.
Yeah, not negative, yeah.
On since becoming a coach or a PT, the highest What is the highlight, the biggest highlight of just being a coach?
That's a really good question. There has been loads. I think the first photo shoot I did was genuinely one of the highlights. I think because I was actually on prep then, so I remember I had like really random food choices because I always eat random food anyway. I was like, remember I stood there like eating some bloody Weetabix or something, like watching all my girls get ready. But I think for me, like, because they've all been clients with me for quite a long time. Some have been in-person clients that moved online, some have been just online clients as well. But they were like some of my like longest standing clients at the time. So and they were just like 5 amazing human beings, different walks of life, like one a grandma who's been on a cancer journey, just got the most insane result. Like one girl really struggled with her body image and eating disorders and stuff. And like it's just they were such an inspiring, amazing group of women, and like all the future ones are as well. But I think because that was the first time that people trusted me and they like trusted me to get bloody half naked in front of a camera and let me take some not let me let the photographer take some photos of them. Like I knew like I saw how scared they were, and the fact they let me do like the fact they trusted me to do that and were willing to do it to me, I think was one of the highlights definitely. And it was a really fun day. It was great. And all the like, you know, you've obviously been to a few now, like all of the photo shoots are such good days. They're so fun. They're all different. But I think the first one obviously was not the most special, but probably the one where I was like, bloody hell, like I'm so honored to do this job. Like people are actually trusting me at their most vulnerable. And like that feeling doesn't get old, but I think yeah, the first one probably stands out.
100%. I love that. I love that you got, because a lot of those girls that you're still friends with and things like that as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I still coach for one or two of them, but yeah, the rest I'm definitely all friends with and always get updates on their life and stuff, and it's really nice. Like, yeah, yeah, it was a really good group of humans. I mean, again, all we're quite lucky that all of our clients are great humans, and we've got another 2 shoots coming up, which is exciting.
Some massive groups of girls as well. So excited.
I know. I was like, fucking hell, I need to get a big Airbnb for the Manchester one. Jesus, I get hunting. Yeah, we've got the list of all our months of the years, and yeah, two shoots in July, Taylor Swift in June. It's a busy time, but yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much for interviewing me today. It was nice to kind of be on the receiving
Thanks
end.
for trusting me, asking you some questions.
I don't know, they weren't actually as scary as I was thinking. So I'm reading at loads of comments about the tractor one, but that's fine. But I feel like sometimes I'm a little bit too honest on this podcast. There's definitely a line at which I'm like, do people actually need to know that? Probably not, but we will
It's
try and yeah.
relatable at the end of the day. You're
Is it
human.
relatable to be scared of tractors? I don't know. I've never heard of anyone saying it's the same thing. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm gonna find someone else with the same phobia as me. That'd be quite nice, actually. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to do some more educational ones over the next few weeks and months as well. And obviously keep Taylor coming on the podcast very regularly. But if there are any topics in particular that you'd find helpful, please do just shout. Or if you do just like these more like casual, questiony, getting to know us ones, then also let us know as well, because we can
Maybe we could do a Q&A, get people to ask us the questions.
yeah, that's a good shout. And then people might want to know more about our random life, or they might want to know more. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. We'll do a Q&A for the next one. Have a lovely rest of your day, whatever you're doing, and thank you for watching or listening today.